Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We got some cool cats in the studio with us today over here. I'm going to give my co-host the opportunity to introduce them, but I'm going to first talk about my longtime friend and colleague who gets to come on the show every once in a while and elevates me, and that is Neville Villamoria, Senior VP for Mission Fed Credit Union. Neville, as always, it is a good day when you are joining us.
Thanks, Drew. It's always a pleasure. And this is a special group with the special topics. That's why I came all the way just for this.
Absolutely. All the way from the second floor of this beautiful building here at Scripps Ranch. And Kristen Fogel is my co-host. She's going to be doing this indefinitely, and I'm honored to have her do this. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc., just a cool place in Liberty Station. And Kristen, why don't you do the introductions?
I would love to. So I have Roslyn Knox here, PhD. She's the executive director of the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation and our neighbor over at Writers Inc., coincidentally, right across the hall. And Dr. Divya Kakaiya, I hope that I pronounced that correctly. She's a psychologist and neuroscientist and the CEO of Healthy Within. So good to have you both.
Absolutely. We'll start with you on this. Divya, what's the mission of your organization?
Gosh, the mission of my organization is to heal brains in a non-medication way, one brain at a time. So that's why this is such a great partnership for us. Because, when the brain, which is like the CEO of our body, is injured, there's just so much that goes awry.
Yeah. Mine got demoted to, I'm not sure what I am
Your
right
brain
now.
is lovely.
That's right.
Stop.
I'm in that's custodial services in that aspect of it. So, Roslyn, what is the mission of your organization?
Our mission is just as simple as it gets, to improve the quality of life for brain injury survivors. And so we walk with them through their journey of recovery.
Right, exactly. So, and we're going to go back and forth over here. I know that Kristen's going to be chatting with you, Roslyn, since you guys are neighbors, and I'll begin to talk to my new good friend, Divya, who I just found out was on the Union Tribune's Community Advisory Board, and I was honored to work for the Union Tribune for a zillion years. I'll leave it at that. And of course, beautiful. Yeah, and just knew very well our last guest, Steve Breen, two-time Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist. So when I saw this on the agenda, I go very, very something that's near and dear to my heart: brain injuries. When I was in high school, my best friend got in a car accident and was in a coma for 27 days, and he was DOA when he got to the hospital. I'm not sure if you're familiar with hospitals in LA, but Cedars-Sinai is one of the bigger hospitals there, and my dad was on staff there. And actually, when he came out of a coma, that was the first person he recognized. Wow! But it was a brain injury, and we didn't think that was going to be it. He is completely recovered from it. Made medical history. Talk about that. How many people actually can overcome serious brain injuries?
Yeah. And I will defer to Divya because of the work that you do. But that is always, I like to say that brain injuries are like fingerprints. There are no two alike. And so there are some that, few, not many, it's always a wonderful thing with total recovery, but the mission is always to get as much recovery of the brain as possible. And there are some wonderful new innovations that have come out to help us with survivors to get them on that journey to recover more of their brain function.
Well, and here's the thing that happens is when the brain is injured, and like as Roslyn said, it's levels of injury, and the brain, as we know, is a very neuroplastic organ. So you could have a significant hit to the brain, but because of the brain's capacity to heal itself. And so what I do with neurofeedback is I actually stimulate the brain so that those pathways in the brain that were injured by the injury start to heal and start to get better. So that's where the neurofeedback that I do at my brain center comes in as a really valuable tool to reset the brain back to its health.
Right. How'd you get into this field?
Yeah.
My baby, my son, who is 25 now, I knew when I saw him in elementary school and I'd watch him in the classrooms, I'm like, this guy is going to give me a run for my money. And he has inattentive ADD is what he has. So what I did is I actually, I had run into a colleague who was doing neurofeedback. So my training was not in neurofeedback, but I'd been running like a different center for years and years. So when she was raving about neurofeedback, I'm like, And my son was in 6th grade at the time. Homework because of processing issues in the brain, homework used to take us forever. Like what should take half an hour to 45 minutes would take like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours. And, I'm at the end of my patience at this point. So I took my son to her for a whole year before I introduced it into my clinic. And then I was off and running, changed my logo, the whole 9 yards. And the only thing I do now is brain training. Yeah. The only thing I do now is brain training. That's because it's just, and majority of the people that come to my center come because they have tried all kinds of different medications and different things to heal their brain. And, most meds have all these side effects.
Right.
So they come into me because they want a non-medication way to balance the brain out.
Right. So, Neville, let me ask you this. You speak very fondly of this group here. What's the connection?
Well, there's several. Like Divya, I have kids that have some neuroatypical neurodiversity.
Right.
I was a victim or subject that had a brain injury. So in college, I was playing broom ball, if you guys know what that is. It's on the ice in tennis shoes with brooms.
Yes.
And I hit my head on the goalpost, then bounced it back and hit it on the ice. And I was out, taken by ambulance to Scripps, La Jolla. I kept looking at my then girlfriend, now wife, and saying, how is Barb? How is Barb? My dad, who's also a physician, coincidentally, Drew, came down and whisked me away to Loma Linda, where I recuperated for 2 weeks. And the way I process information today is very different. But yes, I did heal and I did recover. But prior to that, I had a near photographic memory. And subsequent to that, I had to come up with all these hacks, like making lists and rehearsing processes to compensate. But you're right, the brain is very adaptive. Neuroplasticity is a thing. And I can say firsthand what that experience was like for me. As difficult as it was, I've arguably managed to compensate. So you be the judge of that, right?
No, more than compensate. Anyone that knows with Neville, and it's true. The comments we get from the guests that sit in is that what a great thinker. Is very introspective. I remember there was one guest on, and I can't remember who it was, but and Neville sort of knew the guy a little bit. And he's asking these questions as if he had studied this guy for 5 years. And I said, I met at a break or something like that. I said, who is this guy? I said, I'm telling you, Neville is unbelievable. He comes up with stuff and it's in the back of his brain over there. Before turning back over to Kristen, let me ask you this question, Divya, and you can answer it too, Roslyn, as well. Are we finding more brain injuries now because of electric bikes or, people doing crazy stuff or
athletics or all sorts of things.
You name it. Well, we all know about CTE and all that business. But I'll start with you on that, Roslyn.
Yeah, actually, we have, in San Diego alone, there are over 30,000 brain injuries annually. And they are being more recognized now because of these various types of injuries. Also, people at one point did not really attribute these, like Neville, where you've hit your head or you've fell off and hit your head against the wall or something. Most of the time, people just kind of have shaken it off. But once you realize that your brain is not functioning exactly the way that it once did, then that is a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. And so we are finding more of the, I would say, I almost want to say, I tried not to say this generation, but with people riding e-bikes and doing other things,
razors
and not
or whatever,
taking safety precautions. And, that's why we partner with people like Healthy Within with Divya and Neuro 360 and just people who are able to recognize exactly what those injuries are and get people back to connecting those neurons as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I mean, what you say about recognizing brain injuries, my father had a pretty bad car accident, and years later he was diagnosed with dementia, but now years after his passing, I think, was this really a brain injury? You know, he has a lot of the characteristics of that. So I wonder, you know, how many times that goes misdiagnosed as well. Roslyn, you know, we've been talking about people that have recovered, quote unquote, from brain injuries and things like that. I wondered if you would speak more to the population that you serve and maybe some of the different programs that serve those individuals.
Absolutely. So the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation, as you know, we've been around since 1986, and we have been that connection to those that have brain injuries, have acquired brain injuries. And so we've put together a series of programs. We have support groups for brain injury survivors, where it's a safe place where they can come and talk about things that they're going through, get tips from their peer survivors. Also, best practices. They share best practices. I know Neville mentioned just a moment ago, like that you have to kind of rethink how do you and make notes and these types of things.
Right.
And a lot of times when a brain injury survivor first comes from the hospital or from something like that, they feel absolutely lost.
Sure.
Not knowing which way to go. Because if you think about it, it might have been, you know, at one second they were you and I, and at the next second, bam, their brain was not cooperating with them anymore because of the injury. And there are so many emotions and feelings that they go through, and they don't know what to do. They go through the emotions of loss. So the programs that we have and that we connect them to, they're there to help them find that way. So the peer support group, family and caregiver support group, because the caregivers,
they're going through a lot too.
They're going through a lot.
Right.
They are their lives are turned upside down as well. So the same type of environment, safe, peer-to-peer tips, best practices, and we do annual events such as we celebrate our survivors through our annual walk, Survive Headstrong, that happens every year in March, and we have 400 or 500 people that come out, and we just celebrate because we see where people have come from not being able to walk, not being able to talk, putting sentences together, to where now we have one survivor, Lauren. She would talk to her mom and could not put sentences together, and she's one of our biggest advocates on our peer support. And she's like, now I'm flying to go and taking my new boyfriend to go see my family. That just does something to your heart. So it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, and then our programs such as the one we're having coming up, the Friendraiser, that is for professionals, where we bring together professionals. We have survivors that put together art, that we have a silent auction, and it is a place to network and share the services, because that's what we do at the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation, is that we connect people with resources, with, you know, what do you need? What is it that you need to help you on this journey? So we have, you know, I don't want to go, just continue to go, but we also provide a mentor program, reintegration to vocational. And we are also partnered with the ABI program for acquired brain injury, which is the most marvelous connection that we could have, because it offers so many different programs through the community college and it's free and it's forever. You can come in and out of it, but it really helps people find their way on this journey.
No, that's great. So when we come back from break, I want to continue that conversation, talk about your fundraiser on the 23rd, and really want to dig deep with Divya on neurofeedback. How does that work? And then get some of Neville's insights as well when we return with Dr. Divya Kakaiya, CEO of Healthy Within, joined by her colleague, Dr. Roslyn Knox, Executive Director of the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 17th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union and these beautiful Mission Fed studio in Scripps Ranch. And Mission Fed continues to shine a light on such great things in San Diego County for more than 60 years, as Neville Villamoria will be back with us as well, chatting about all the cool things they're doing at Mission Fed. He's the Senior VP there. And, of course, my very cool co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of the San Diego Writers, Inc. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 17th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union and these wonderful Mission Fed studios in Scripps Ranch. And Mission Fed always raising the bar for San Diegans for more than 60 years. I'm joined by Dr. Divya Kakaiya, the CEO of Healthy Within, joined by Dr. Roslyn Knox, Executive Director of San Diego Brain Injury Foundation, my co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of the San Diego Writers, Inc., and Neville Villamoria, Senior VP at Mission Fed. Talk to us, Divya, about neurofeedback.
So think about neurofeedback as physical therapy for the brain. Okay, one of the first things we do before we start neurofeedback is a brain map. So this is a map that takes about an hour to do, and we capture everything that's going on with the brain. And specifically, when it comes to a brain injury, we want to see what regions of the brain were affected by the injury. And what that does is it allows us to see what stimulation we need to do in what regions of the brain. So the brain map for me, especially with my brain injury survivors, is a very essential initial step I like to take.
Right.
And then what we do with neurofeedback is we have these sensors that we place in the regions of the brain that we're going to be stimulating. And I have two kinds of machines. There's one that gives a tiny microcurrent into the brain, but I have my main machine that I use, which is non-invasive. So basically, we use visual, tactile, and auditory feedback. Those are the three senses we use in order to rewire those regions of the brain. So the patient comes in, they're sitting in front of a screen, they're flying a little spaceship through a tunnel, and the faster the spaceship goes, the louder the music goes on the volume, and the more the monkey vibrates that's sitting next to them. So they're getting the tactile soothing, the visual stimulation, and the auditory. So those are the three sensory pieces we use in order to rewire the brain. And usually a session is about an hour long. They come in, I book out an hour, and patients will report. And the most optimum effect of neurofeedback is felt about 12 to 24 hours after the treatment. So in the session, they may feel a sense of calm. They may be feeling different things. But usually it's my next day is when I'll start to see changes. And people will come in 2 times a week for neurofeedback. So,
you know, what's interesting about that, I spent many, many years as a curriculum developer for San Diego Unified, and I still have a curriculum business going on now. And when you talk about curriculum, you talk about the 3 ways people learn, and you hit all 3 of them: tactile learning, visual learning, and auditory learning.
That's right. Exactly.
I'm pitiful at all 3, by the way. But
you are so hard.
We can say so. Keep in mind, healthy brains can benefit from neurofeedback too. We don't have to have it be an injured brain.
Right.
So that's the important thing.
You're making the assumption I have a healthy brain, but that's a bad assumption, Divya. No, but in all seriousness, when you come to those 3 things, and Neville, maybe you can talk about it with your child that has some challenges in this, and maybe even yourself. For me, I am absolutely, unquestionably a visual learner, and I have to learn visually. How about you?
I think it's a blend for me. So again, we may have a dominant form of learning or processing.
That's right.
But that doesn't mean that, again, even in my example, when one area or one aspect of how I learned or processed or experienced the world pivoted, then the others were adapted and compensated. So there's an amazing compensatory mechanism inside of us that, back to this, the power and magic and wonder of so much we don't really understand about how our brains work. And the question nobody can really answer is, what is consciousness? So we can't riff there because we'll have run out of fuel and time.
It's another podcast.
But that's a totally different podcast. But I think the challenge and opportunity is for us to, if you think about it as an exercise for your brain, and you exercise all aspects of it, then you're going to have a healthier brain, no matter what it doesn't. You don't have to be in a deficit condition. So we can all benefit from a better understanding of how we process the world and what things we can do, what micro habits or practices we could do to ensure that we remain healthy and keep a good cognitive capability through our lives.
Yeah, without question. Neville, before you turn it back over to Divya, I got a question for you over here. Neville happens to be a musician, and he sings and so forth and all this. Has that helped you in some of the things you do, or that's just stuff I do for fun?
Yeah, the music for me is just flow.
Yeah,
and I get lost in the drop of water in the wave in the ocean. So for me, it's just a way of connecting on a much more deep level. I don't know what part of my brain. If I did a functional MRI or ran my brain scan, there's something else that's being activated. That's for sure. And so that's why music gives me joy and gives me flow and connection. So did my brain injury help or hurt? I really don't know.
Right. Exactly. Kristen?
Yeah, I just had a follow-up question for, Healthy Within. So you don't necessarily need to have a diagnosis to come see you?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So these are
many
people.
of our TBIs do not have a diagnosis.
Okay, good point. Right.
Yeah. Or for any condition. And think about any brain condition can benefit from neurofeedback. So you could have anxiety, you could have depression. And again, one of the things I do, which I'm very passionate about, is I come from a very integrative perspective, right? So my deal is not about, I need to label you with OCD or da-da-da, because the brain is this sweet, beautiful organ that we can do so much with. And when you present the symptoms you're experiencing, or you may not even have symptoms, like I work with a lot of athletes who are really good at what they do, but they want to be a little bit better. For example, our 49ers, the players all do neurofeedback on a regular basis.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And
can you work on my LA Rams? They're not playing that well this year.
Hey, make
You're
me a
just going to
connection
send
and
all
I'll
of his
work on
photos
that.
to you.
Absolutely.
You're believing that's going to help, huh?
It's just really, and again, in working the way I work within my center is I make sure we talk about the role of exercise, the role of good sleep, because anytime you have any brain conditions that are going on, our sleep is going to be the number one thing that gets affected. And with neurofeedback, I'm really able to get that brain into a place where it can down-regulate for the night, have a good night's sleep, because when you have that sleep, that is when the brain restores itself.
Oh, how I need you.
Yeah, we're chatting with Dr. Divya Kakaiya. She is the CEO of Healthy Within, joined by her colleague, Dr. Roslyn Knox, Executive Director of the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, joined also by Neville Billamori, Senior VP at Mission Fed Credit Union, and my co-host, Kristen Vogel, Executive Director of the San Diego Writers, Inc. So you got your fundraiser, Roslyn, coming up on the 23rd.
Yes.
Are there seats still available? There are sponsors?
Absolutely.
Or you're sold? Okay.
No, we are welcoming. We're welcoming sponsors.
Okay.
You can go to sdbif.org/fundraiser to come on as a sponsor and also to register. There is plenty of room. It's at the Mission Trails, in case you haven't been there, the most beautiful sites at the Mission Trails Welcome Center at the Regional Park. And we set up live music,
nice.
Little food, a little wine. We've got our survivors creating art. We've had donations, and you can still donate as part of the silent auction as well.
Nice.
And this is how we continue to raise money. And we're a nonprofit organization, so we raise money to put back into the programs and services that we provide for brain injury survivors. So at the fundraiser, you can come and network with other professionals. It is going to be wonderful. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And I'm hearing that day is going to be fall-like weather, so it's going to be great. But really, it is a great place for providers, for community advocates, for people to just network with what they do and connect with each other. And that's how we kind of connect services with each other. So the fundraiser, I believe that it's been going on for about, I'm going to say 16 years now. And so that is something that we're looking forward to. But please do come out.
It's a beautiful event. I went several years ago, and I got married at Mission Trail, so I can attest.
It is
beautiful place.
The views are beautiful. We've got some great music that's going to be going on there too.
And shout that website out one more time.
sdbif.org/fundraiser.
Very, very good. And Divya, how about your shout out your website? People want to get involved.
Healthywithin.com.
Well, that's pretty easy on this. Do me a favor. I'd love to have you both come on as a return appearance. And if you want to bring in people that have benefited from your services and your programs, we won't break any HIPAA laws, but someone that has agreed to do this stuff, we'd love to do that. And I'll let you decide if that makes a sense in that world. As Neville knows, we always love to have the interview first with the organization, and now the next step is who has benefited from this. And you brought up something that is so true, and we talk about this incessantly. It may be the person that has had the brain injury, but it's their friends and family and all that that are impacted by it. So when the people improve, now you've changed the lives in a positive way, from the aunts, the uncles, the kids, the grandparents, the pets, and all that business in between. Divya and Roslyn, what an absolute honor having you on. Please make a return appearance.
Yes,
thank you so much. We look forward to it.
You.
Please do invite us any given time. And we have some wonderful survivors, so we'd be happy to bring them on.
We consider that a done deal. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, now in our 17th year, the nation's longest running community podcast. I want to thank my great friend Neville Villamoria and Mission Fed, been a sponsor of our show, and Neville's been a guest on the show for probably all 17 years, I imagine. Neville, is that about right? You think about 17 years you've been coming on the show?
Maybe 15, I don't know. But
a while.
but a lot. Well, we really appreciate that. We hope everybody enjoyed the show, and wish them a good weekend.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.